What up, my geeks? Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, and today we are going to take a look at the Apple event. Happy Halloween, by the way. It is, I should have my costume on. It is Halloween, and there we go. Still Captain America. All right. Is that adjusted? And of course, we're going to be talking about the Apple event that's happening. It happened. It's already done. It's gone. And so we're not going to take a look at as much of the keynotes but as the features, but we are going to take a look at what it's kind of going to cost you right now for an Apple product. So and then of course a lot of us are have the products. I have an iPad and I have the iPhone simply because of the fact that I use it for music, and a lot of the music apps are Apple. Android hasn't figured the video and the audio stuff just yet. You can do some stuff, but it's kind of not great. And a lot of things are not great about it. Facebook Lives on Android versus on iOS, there's a big difference. A lot more on there. So yeah, I have to use Apple products, and I have a MacBook, I have an iPhone, I have an iPad, but I also have I have the Google Pixel right here, and I work off of PC. So, but anyway, let's take a look. If you are going to plan your upgrade, let's start with this Mac Mini here, re-engineered in no small way. It's available on November 7th. And what do we got? Eighth generation 6-core quad-core processors, DDR4 memory up to 64 gigabytes, Thunderbolt 3, HDMI 2, and a lot more. So, and this is perfect because if you have a lot of people that are using this for things like smaller desktop footprints, at work, or maybe at home. You don't want a big desktop at home, so you can go into an Intel i5 or i7 processor. I have an i7 processor here. I also have an awesome graphics card. It runs 8 gigabytes. This is using the UHD Graphics 630. So, as you can see, and of course cooling is very important, so they will talk about the increased cooling. They're using my Geekout there. Anyway, up to 7.8 times faster than the previous 16 gigabytes and up to 64 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. Hall apps, next generation security. So you have secure boot capability, Ethernet port, Thunderbolt 3, USB-C. There's 4 of them, so I'm guessing there's Thunderbolt 3 and there's 2 Thunderbolt 3 chips in here to go 1, 2, 3, 4. It might be one chip that controls all 4. If that's the case, then that's kind of sad. But we'll see what happens. It says it can connect up to 2 4K displays and a third with HDMI 2.0, or one 5K display, which is cool. HDMI 2.0, you got USB 3 2 ports and the HDMI 2 port. Headphone jack. Is it just a headphone? It looks like just a headphone jack, not a dual headphone microphone jack. And as your give back, if you trade in your old Mac Mini, you can get $1,000 towards the new Mac Mini. Let's take a look at the prices now. So Mac Mini, you can choose your Mac Mini. This is the i3 processor. This is the i5 processor. $799 for i3, $1,000, $1,099 for i5. Let's hit select and let's see if we can customize it. All right, there we go. So we want the 6-core i7. And we want to go to, let's just go 32 gigabytes. That's $300 right there. We want at least 1 terabyte of storage in there. We can go from 100 gigabit in Ethernet to 10 gigabit Ethernet, N-base T Ethernet with support of 1 gigabit, 2.55, and 10 for an extra $100. Yeah, hello, but you definitely need to update your cables if you do that. So here's the final price, $2,599. $2,599 for the Mac Mini, if you want the Mac Mini. So, next up, the MacBook Air, which is what was updated. So let's flip over here. All right, MacBook Air. Lightness strikes again. 4 million pixels on a 13.3-inch resolution. I am not a big fan of Mac's Touch ID too much, simply because of the fact that, you know, it doesn't work half the time. You've got to re-log in way too much. And when it does work, it's nice. But I find that I'm typing my password in way more than the fingerprint sensor. And that just doesn't make sense to me. So hopefully they'll fix that a little bit. But nonetheless, they do have the touch. And they have the security chip, the T2 security chip in there. That doesn't look like they have the that little track bar, which some of you, it's starting to grow on me, but you know, it's something that I think people will start to expect on all the MacBooks, and it's not here. And they could have removed the top line of buttons like they did in the track bar. For that, the escape button being the only exception. They should have the track bar from here to here, and then of course this is the fingerprint sensor right here, that little button right there, which I believe also acts as the power button, like it would on my MacBook Pro. So you got a great performance, 16 gigabytes of memory, 1.5 terabytes of storage, 2.75 pounds, which is pretty light. Core i5 8th generation, wireless AC, and Bluetooth 4.2. So about 12 hours of battery life. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Thunderbolt 3 for USB charging. Looks like we got 2 on one side. No, it's just got 2 of them. So these are the 2. There's nothing on the other side. Probably, and one of them was probably power. So you have one Thunderbolt port. You can get an adapter. You know, I do have this dongle right here. This one right here, which is technically USB-C, but it does have a USB-C for the charging, so I can pass it through on the plug, but it does affect what you're using on your other stuff. So, all right, let's go back here. Powerful built-in apps, and of course $1,000 on the MacBook Air. Now let's take a look at the prices. 13-inch MacBook Air. Let's see, we got this is the i5 processor, up to 3.6 gigahertz, which is pretty good. $1,199. That's the lowest end, and of course you can get it in space gray, gold, and silver. And then of course, if you want the i5 with turbo boost, that's $13.99. Let's select that and let's see if we can customize that a little bit. Looks like we can. So we can throw in 16 gigabytes of memory. Once again, 1.5 terabytes of storage. Charge cable, MacBook Air, $2,599. That is crazy. Crazy. Give me your answer to $25.99 for that MacBook Air. But hey, you know, it ships by November 6th. There you go. Let's move on here. Let's get into the one thing that everybody was looking at, and that was the iPad. And there's new iPads and iPad Pros. So let's go. All new screen, all powerful. Look at that. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. This is nice. I like the fact that they don't have that little wedge in there for the camera. The camera's right here. And I like the fact that you can flip it around, and it's always up. So as opposed to the iPhone, if you have the new iPhone 10, or 10s or whatnot. If you're upside down, your screen doesn't turn on. If you're forward, then the screen turns on. So I kind of like that right there. It's available on November 7th, and it's super thin. It's about a pound. It's just like with the previous iPads. It's got more of a square shape now as opposed to a beveled shape. So they got away from the beveled stuff. I think partly because of the fact that they needed to have the head needed to have just a little bit more space. So squaring it up really gives you the space. But just like with the iPhone, I think they'll bevel it again or round it off somehow. The pencil, the magnetic top on the pencil that also charges the device, that's pretty sweet if you buy the pencil with your iPad. And of course, you can trade in your current iPad and get credit up to $375 towards a new iPad. Like I said, November 7th. So let's take a look. Let's go hit buy. And of course, this has got they showed off the NBA 2K. They showed off the what was the other one? One of the Assassin's Creed models, and it was, you know, from what I saw graphic wise, it was pretty decent, but I'd want to try it myself. So the 11-inch display, which is the 10.5, is $799, and the 12.9 is $999. So we'll do these individually. So we'll go 11-inch display. We'll just go space gray. And is 64 gigabytes, starts at $799. You want it? I'm going over 128 gigabytes for any device now. So this is $949 for $256, but you can get up to 50. Let's just do $1549 for 1 terabyte. We can go Wi-Fi plus cellular. That adds another $150 to it. And my final price for this device, $1,699, minus $375 if I have the right iPad. Previous iPad, and I still haven't added Apple Care, and I still haven't so I can bring this probably down to $1,300 for the 11-inch, and of course Apple Care 24 month $129, so it brings that back to about $1,314, let's say about $1,500 for the iPad Pro 11-inch. Let's start again. Let's flip it over. Now, we're going to change this. We're going to go to the 12.9-inch display. We're going to stay space gray. We're going to change this. No, we're going to stay at 1 terabyte. So $999 for 64 gigabytes, but $1749 for 1 terabyte. And we're going to stay with Wi-Fi and cellular. $1,899 minus the Apple Care. And of course, without the give back. So take about $200 off of that. So you're paying $1,600 for the iPad Pro 12, the 12.9 inch. But for a lot of you, that's your computer. That's going to be your computer. You're going to probably get rid of whatever desktop or laptop, and you're going to go with this, and then you're going to buy the accessories. You got to buy a case with maybe a case with a keyboard on it, so you can take it with you. And it'll play games, so you'll be when you're on the plane, you'll be able to play your NBA 2K or Assassin's Creed or whatever else games are out there. You'll be able to, because it's got the new Bionic, the A12 Bionic chip in it, which and of course the 7-core GPU processor. So you can play those games, and so it's going to replace a lot of your computers. So $1,900 for a replacement computer, not too bad. But a lot of us, we buy a lot of people buy their computers at $400 or $500. This is a price hike, and there's going to be a lot of people complaining about it, of course. So, but these are the prices with the new devices: the Mac Mini, the Mac Air, and of course the iPad Pro there. And of course you can buy the older iPads for considerably less if you don't play the games. You don't need the power. You don't decide to use Photoshop on your iPad. But the Photoshop is a big game changer, and one of the reasons why I think a lot of people might be switching to the iPad Pro even over their MacBooks, which begs the question, why did they put out a MacBook Air? Don't know. And the other problem with MacBooks is there's no touchscreens, and they're not going to put touchscreens onto your MacBooks. And I think that's a bad decision, but you know, we'll see what happens in the future. I have a feeling that eventually the people are going to say, hey, put a touch, if you're going to have a MacBook Pro, put on a touch screen, please, or at least let Apple Pencil be able to be used on the MacBook Pro. A lot of people would like that. That touch bar is nice, but you know, a touch screen is better. But of course, they want you to go to the iPad Pro. And of course, they were pushing that out because they were saying, okay, iPad Pro, it's sold more than any other PC. HP is the closest one in sales. So since people are buying an iPad Pro, you might as well buy an iPad Pro as well. I don't know. That's interesting thoughts or whatever. But these are the prices for the iPad. So hopefully, what are you going to get? Are you going to get an iPad? Are you going to get a... You're going to stick with what you got right now? I talked about that with Jennifer, and we're going to stick with the iPads we've got, mostly because of the fact, you know, that's $1,900, even with selling this back for $375. If I can get $375 for this, I'm not there yet, and I'm not a gamer, so it's not time for me to upgrade my iPad. But it's a nice iPad with the Face ID. I still wish there was a fingerprint sensor, and they have the whole back of that iPad to put a fingerprint sensor on it, especially if it's an iPad that's being used by multiple people. You don't have to sit there and reconfigure the Face ID or have them input in a code. But in all, it's a nice iPad. It's got a lot of great features to it, and I know a lot of gamers it might be switching from their console games to something like this. But we'll see what happens as we go. So what are you going to get? Are you going to get the iPad Pro? Are you sticking with the iPad that you have? Let me know by tweeting me over at Geekazine, geekazine@gmail.com. Or you can tweet me over at Facebook, over at Twitter, or Instagram, all that other good stuff. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys have a great, happy Halloween and your iPad Pros. I hope that they're working well, and let me know if you even don't use the iPad. If you use a Surface, if you use a different tablet, what tablet do you use? Let me know that too. So thanks a lot for watching. You guys geek out and take care.